Well everyone, it is that time of year again where we get to take our hard-earned money and let that dollar stretch out just a little bit further when it comes to Amazon Prime Day. In this video, we're going to be talking about all things Apple products, from the MacBook Airs and Pros of the world, all the different iPads, and the Apple accessories. The only thing Amazon doesn't do is iPhones, but outside of that, there are some amazing deals this year. And another thing to note is that this is going to be only Apple products. I have a follow-up video talking about all things about my favorite Apple accessories, so I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and seeing what kind of deals we have moving forward. But let's get right into the first one, which is all thing macOS related. So let's start off with anything macOS related, especially with the MacBook Airs, because these things are the ones that are going to sell like hotcakes in my opinion. The cheapest we've seen MacBook Airs before is at that $799 price point for the M4 13-inch MacBook Air with 16 gigs of RAM as well as 256 gigs of onboard storage, and that deal should come back. Right now I think it's only $900 or maybe even $1,000 on Amazon. But that $799 price point should come back, with some rumors talking about maybe even a $775 price point for the M4 MacBook Air, the 13-inch version. And then same thing goes for the MacBook Air 15 version, so it should drop down to $999, which I think is probably the best deal out there when it comes to MacBook Airs. You get all the horsepower of the M4 chip, you get the 16 gigs of RAM, the 256 storage, but you get better battery life and a larger 15-inch display, which I know a lot of people seem to like, and again, it's still a great MacBook Air form factor. So that, to me, is going to be the deal for most people. So if you're a student or a casual computer user, or if you use it kind of just for communication and emailing and going on Slack, as well as maybe going on the internet for Safari, YouTube content consumption, this M4 MacBook Air is going to be the best bang for buck by far in this entire video. But if you do need a little bit more oomph in terms of power, the M4 MacBook Pros do give us a nice option when it comes to even better deals for that price point, because I do believe the M4 MacBook Pro is going to be at $1,200 here on Prime Day, which is going to be an awesome deal if you do need that extra horsepower. Yes, it still only has 16 gigs of RAM, but you do get 512 gigs of internal storage, you get the internal fan, you get that beautiful mini LED display for the 14-inch and the 16-inch one, so definitely take a look out of those MacBook Pros, see what kind of deals you can get. But I know that 14-inch one could entice a lot of people, because if you were going to spend maybe $1,000 or $1,200 on a MacBook Air, why not spend that same $1,200 for a MacBook Pro that has a much better display, the fan that's built in there to give you some better overall heat management as well as better power, and of course the doubling of that internal storage, which alone is a $200 upgrade in my opinion. So that MacBook Pro, the M4 14-inch one, could be a great one for you. And then you have the Mac Mini, which is my favorite Mac computer right now, and that's going to see a new all-time low of $474 supposedly. So if you are in the market for a computer, and if you already have a monitor, a keyboard, a mouse, and you literally just need the computer, the Mac Mini, the M4 Mac Mini, is going to be an absolute no-brainer. You get everything you need out of it. You get the 2 USB-C ports on the front, the headphone jack, the 3 USB-C Thunderbolt ports on the rear, as well as the power and HDMI. It is a great computer, especially for the price. You're going to be future-proof. You get that 16 gigs of onboard RAM, you get the 256 gigs of onboard storage, and of course you can expand that with external memory like I do. I have a 4TB Lexar SSD, which I'll have in my future video talking about some of my favorite accessories, but the Mac Mini is a powerhouse for that price point. Highly recommended. It's going to be at an all-time low, and all the links will be down in the description in the order that I mentioned them with the corresponding prices. So now let's get into my favorite part, which is going to be all things iPadOS. So if you are in the market for an iPad, especially with iPadOS 26, which in my opinion transforms the experience on the iPad to be a lot more computer-like than it ever has before, this could be the year that you maybe jump into one, because the A16 iPad, the entry-level one, that runs iPadOS 26 and has that new windowing mode and the new Mac-like interface if you want it, does start at $299 and could be even cheaper on Amazon when Prime Day does hit, and it could be even $279, which is insane for that amount of power and the usability that you get out of that iPad, because the experience overall, yes, the iPad Pros and the Airs will be a better overall iPad, but the experience is going to be about 98% the same. They all run the same exact version of iPadOS 26. Just the screens are going to be a little bit different, the hardware is going to be a little bit different, but overall the experience is going to be one-to-one. So if you just want an entry-level iPad that can kind of do a little bit of everything that maybe you share in the house, to throw around tablet, something for mostly content consumption where you needed to do a little bit more sometimes, that $300 A16 iPad is a no-brainer. And then you have the iPad Mini, the 7th generation, which should be under $400 on Prime Day. Definitely jump on this one if you guys just want a pure tablet that fits in the pocket, that fits in a purse, that fits in a bag, that can be thrown around. And yes, even that one runs that windowing system, albeit the screen real estate isn't great for that, but overall, it's still a great iPad and a great companion for maybe your other Mac and iOS level devices. And then let's get into like the computer replacement type of iPads, which is going to be the iPad Airs of the world and the iPad Pros of the world. The 11-inch iPad Air should be as low as $449. I mean, think about that. $450 for an M3 chip. That is the cheapest way to get into an M3 chip ever for any laptop or any iPad or any computer. And again, that also runs that brand new iPadOS 26. It works with the Magic Keyboard. It works with the Apple Pencils. It has USB-C on there. These all have USB-C. This one has a regular USB-C as well, but it's just a great overall device. And then you also have that 13-inch option, which should also be much lower than the standard $800 retail price. And then you have the iPad Pros. These are going to be a little bit different in terms of how much value you get out of it, because again, this is all a hardware play. This is going to have the latest Thunderbolt port with the USB-C. It's going to have that new tandem OLED display, which it's had. The M5 iPad Pro is right around the corner, supposedly. So this could see some substantial savings in terms of Amazon Prime Day, which I don't think the M5 iPad Pro is worth waiting for, in my opinion. But that is something to know because we could be coming out in that November timeframe, which is something to take into consideration. But if you can get yourself a 13-inch M4 iPad Pro, and that's going to be your main computer and your main form of mobile computing, if you can get it for $900 on Amazon Prime Day, that's an absolute steal. Get yourself a Magic Keyboard, or maybe if you want to save some money, get yourself a Logitech Combo Touch, which is about half the price and the same experience. That is a no-brainer, and that is a computer replacement, in my opinion. And then when it comes to Apple Watches and watchOS, all the new Apple Watches should be $100 cheaper than normal. It remains yet to be seen if we're going to be seeing the Series 11 or the Series 10, as well as the Ultra 2 or the Ultra 3, but just know that all those devices will be $100 off on Amazon Prime Day, so jump on it if you can. And I think the Apple Watch SE, the new one, is something that a lot of people should consider depending on how you plan to use your Apple Watch. And now the million-dollar question here is, will the new AirPods Pro 3, which is my favorite new product of the year, get a discount? As of right now, we do believe it's going to get a $29 discount, so it could be, instead of $249, it could be $220, which would be great for those people who want to jump in it. But Amazon will have the AirPods Pro 2 for a much bigger discount at around $150, which I would argue at those price points, the AirPods Pro 2 could be better value. What you get out of the AirPods Pro 3 is a little bit better active noise cancellation. You do get the heart rate monitor. You also get the new shape and the silicone tips, so overall it is a better device, but AirPods Pro 2 are still great. Active noise cancellation is great. Transparency mode is great. It doesn't have the heart rate sensor, but in my opinion, if you have an Apple Watch already, the heart rate sensor is not really worth writing home about or worth maybe investing in, at least not for now. And all those new translation features, those magic aha moments that Apple talked about, work on those AirPods Pro 2. So that's something to consider. So those are all the big things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to Amazon Prime and what you should know and what your hard-earned money should go towards. Definitely make sure that it is October 7th because that's when Amazon Prime Day starts. But once it does start, definitely get in there and see what type of value and what type of deals you can get. All these Apple products will be on sale and they will be linked below in the order that I mentioned them. And like I said, unfortunately, iPhones never get deals. Maybe you can find something refurbished. And if I do find something, I'll leave it down below. But iPhones are usually left for Apple and the carriers to kind of handle. But definitely go on to the next video because some of my favorite Apple accessories for the Apple products we talked about will be mentioned here. And they are some awesome ones that are some great deals as well as some awesome cases. So that about do it for this video. If you made it to the end, leave a dolphin. And if you want to watch more videos like this, check out one of these videos right here. Until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace.